It's Scott Bywater here, and I just want to dig in to a little bit more depth of the whole concept of your existing customers and dealing with the top 20% of your existing customers. And the reason why I want to really dig into this is because, we've discussed, I've discussed before that it's 5 times easier to sell to an existing customer than to get a new one. But to sell to an 80-20 customer, that 20%, those customers in the 20% of your list, which make up 80% of your revenue, is much, much easier again. And the reason for that is because a buyer is a buyer is a buyer. So if you look at these 80-20 customers and you sort of say, and you compare this to, let's say, chasing after a cold customer. Okay, so a cold customer is 5 times harder than just any customer. Now these 80-20, they're already helping you generate, far more revenue than the remaining 80% of your leads. So let's just have a look at this and break it down. So we've got, so imagine that you've got 100 customers, and your business is turning over. Let's just make it very simple. Your business is turning over $500,000. Okay, so 20 of those customers are bringing you $400,000. So those 20 customers are generating $400,000 because it's 20% of the 100, which is 20 customers, and it's 80% of the 500, which is $400,000. So those 20 customers are worth $20,000 each to you. And obviously your numbers are going to be different depending on your business and whether you've got a high transaction value or a low transaction value or that sort of thing. But the same principle is going to apply. So they're going to be worth $20,000 to you. Now, the group of customers who aren't in your 20%, so the 80%, here you've got 400 customers. Okay, so 400 customers who are worth, so 20 customers worth 400,000. So 400 customers are worth 100,000 to you, which is 20% of the 500,000. So what we've got here is those. Now, if we divide 100,000 by 400, 100,000 divided by 400, they're worth, and this will actually shock you we've got 80 customers. So we've got 100 customers all up. So 80 customers equals $100,000. So let's divide 100,000 divided by 80. So they're worth $1,250. $1,250 to you. Okay, so what we're looking at here is those customers. Now, if we divide 20,000 by 1,250 divided by 1,250, we're looking at 16 times the amount. So an 80-20 customer, that customer who's in your 80-20 is worth 16 times the amount of just an ordinary customer. That's a phenomenal number. They're 16 times more valuable. Now, given that it's 5 times easier to sell to an existing customer than it is to sell to just any ordinary customer, what you're looking at is that it could be as much as 80 times easier, because we're timesing 16 times 5, 80 times easier to sell to an 80-20 customer than it is to sell to any other, just someone who's cold off the street or someone that you're approaching cold. So this is why, and so many of us disregard these customers, but they're much, much easier to sell to. And not only are they more easier to sell to, they're much more likely to buy from you. So it's really important to really grasp that, because if you think about it, we've got these 20 customers who are easy to sell to, who are worth $400,000 or 80% of our revenue. Gee, if we just focused in on them, we could get, we could significantly grow the revenue. Now, again, if we looked at, because the 80-20 principle goes deep, it goes even deeper than that. So if you've got 20 of those customers bringing you in 400,000, and we do the same 80-20 principle on this, and think about how this applies to your own business, because if you really dig deep, you'll find that this same principle applies. What you'll find is 4 of those customers, which is 20% of the 20%, 4 of those customers, so 4 customers are actually bringing in 80% of the 400. So 80% of the 400 is 320. So 4 customers are bringing in 320,000, which means each of those customers is worth about $80,000 to you. So $80,000 to you, which means compared with your average customer, those 4 customers are going to be worth 80,000 divided by 1,250. Just so you can really get a picture of it. 80,000 divided by 1,250 equals 64 times. So your top 4 customers of those 100 customers is worth most likely 64 times what those who aren't in the 80-20 group, who aren't in those top 20 are worth. 64 times the amount, which means they're way easier to sell to, much more likely to spend more with you, and a far more valuable customer. So it's really important you go through. And what I would really encourage you to do is ask your accountant, or go into your QuickBooks or your Reckon or whatever accounting software you're using, and just ask them to print out a list of all your customers in terms of top spend to lowest spend, and work out who those 4% and who those 20% of customers. So who those 4% of customers are that are making up 66% of your revenue, and who those 20% of your customers are that are making up 80% of your revenue. So find out who those customers are, because these are your gold customers. These are your customers who are just so valuable. For instance, I've got a customer, I've got a handful of customers, 3 or 4 customers, very similar to this makeup, that are worth a significant amount of money to me, and I've had all of them for several years, and it makes my business so much easier to run, because all I need to do is really hone in on these particular customers, and build the relationship with these particular customers, and make sure I service them. And that's generating a significant amount of revenue, obviously, as a result of that. So and you'll find that it's very similar for yourself. To help you get more customers, I'm giving away a free gift to everyone who watches this video. It's a brand new guide called 7 Ways to Get More Traffic and Customers, which includes a swag of cheat sheets for getting results fast. Download it for free by clicking the link in the description below this video, or visiting moretrafficandcustomers.com.